Good morning to you, sir.
Morning.
Yes, my name is Abraham, and I am speaking from Uganda. And I would like you to introduce yourself to our viewers so they would get to know a little about you.
Sure. Yeah. So my name is Tony Burgess, and I'm based in England. And I run a company called Academy of High Achievers, otherwise known as AHA. And we do three things really. We train people in organizations, we do coaching, and also we do therapeutic work, helping people to let go of trauma and also to remain stress-free.
Okay, so today our topic of concern was really something to do with mental health. And on our past sessions with different other speakers, we have had different talks on mental health, and different techniques have been taught, and different things have been passed on, probably to help people deal with trauma, post-traumatic stress disorder, and quite a number of different things. So from you, I would like us to really get into something that I had initially read about, something I believe that you have also talked about quite extensively on your YouTube channel and other areas, and that's the self-healing technique. And I would like you to explain the words themselves before we can get down into understanding what the self-healing technique is.
Sure. Yes. So havening is really comes from the phrase a safe haven. And what havening is about is using soothing touch in order to put a safety message into our brain and our nervous system. It's a reassurance message that's just kind of saying, it's okay, you're safe, it's okay. And we do that through soothing touch, which we can expand on a little later, the actual moves of self-havening.
So before we get down into the touch and exactly that, I would also like you to explain to our viewers what exactly self-heavening is dealing with, and why exactly are we calling it heaven? Yeah.
Yeah, sure. Yeah. So the brain likes to hold on to things that have been traumatic or stressful or anxiety provoking because it's trying to protect us in the future. But our brain overdoes that. It's sometimes the problem that we are being protected from is over, or it's not needed to be as broad a protection as it's providing. So we end up feeling anxious or disturbed or stressed when we really don't need to be, when everything is safe. And so the brain needs a message to come through biologically that tells it it's safer than you think. We can take apart the alarm system, if you like. We can allow calm to settle back into the system, and that's why the name is havening, because we want to create this kind of idea of a safe haven. It's okay. It's okay. It's okay. That's really what we want the message to be to the brain. And soothing touch is a very good way of getting that message right into the most important areas of the brain for holding on to trauma.
So, from what I hear you say, is basically it's a way for people to deal with trauma. It's a way for people to let go with of those events that their brain simply sometimes can't easily let go of, because trauma is something I believe almost every single person is dealing with. But I think how we handle it is all that matters. And we are here today to really find the technique, and which is the self-heavening that we are trying to understand right now, that is going to help us deal with our traumas even much better, and etc. and everything concerned in that area. So I would like you to get into helping us understand more deeply and more concretely what exactly the self-heavening technique is. What is it? What does it do? How can I use it? How can I apply it? When do I need to apply it? Do I need a specialist? I guess that's a lot of questions, but let's take
Yeah.
it step by step.
Yeah, okay. So, first of all, what is it? So, I'm going to take my glasses off for a moment because it involves some moves which are using touch. So, we've got power in our hands to be able to apply this soothing touch. And one of the areas is on the face here, like this. And what's happening when we're applying this touch on the face is that our brainwave activity changes. So, we've got different brainwaves in our brain every moment of every day and night. But some of that brainwave activity is very soothing, and some of the brainwave activity makes us very alert. Some of that brainwave activity is good for learning and so on. And what we're looking to do with this touch is to create a very soothing brainwave activity. It's called delta waves, very slow brainwaves that get generated by this touch. So this is one of the moves. The second move is on the shoulders, down here, down the arms. So it's a little bit like giving ourselves a hug. We can go further to the palms because the third area is the palms. And we can do that in one move there like this, or we can keep it separate where we do the arms separately and then we do the hands as a separate move. There's no particular rule about whether you do the face first or the arms first or the hands first. In fact, if say somebody didn't like doing their face, it's okay. You could just do the arms and the hands. Or if you didn't like doing your arms, you could just do your hands and your face. It's all of these moves will generate the delta waves, these slow, reassuring, soothing brain waves, and also some different chemistry in the brain as well. It releases some chemicals called oxytocin and serotonin and GABA, and it reduces cortisol, which is like our stress, chemicals. And so, it's having a very positive effect on the brain if we're wanting to soothe ourselves. And there is one other move actually, which isn't the touch, and that is moving your eyes from left to right. Not everybody likes to do that one. It feels a bit strange, but you can just look, keeping your head facing forward, move your eyes to the left, your eyes to the right, eyes to the left, eyes to the right. And that generates the same kind of brainwave activity, in fact. So you've got some choices of these 3 touch moves. And also we've got the eye movements as well. And you can use that. You're asking me when we would use this. If you are wanting to clear some really bad, traumatic events, it's really better to work with a professional who can be there with you and guide you. But if you're wanting to just shake something off your day, which is, mildly stressful or annoying or upsetting, then you can actually do this for yourself. You just momentarily think of it, and then you start to apply the touch, and you distract your mind by doing a little activity in your mind, like going through the alphabet and naming things beginning with each letter. So it might be, okay, think of something beginning with A, apple. Think of something beginning with B, a bed. Think of something beginning with C, a cat. And you just go through that so your mind can't be reliving the upsetting event. We've thought of it momentarily so that that part of the brain lights up. Then we distract ourselves and we apply the touch. And we've actually got some little videos. I'll send you a link so that you can put it with the video where people can be guided by me or by my partner, Julie, to actually be distracted and to be shown the moves. So that's something that individuals could do if they wanted to follow some video guidance. But the interesting thing about this, Abraham, is that also this soothing touch is very good for giving our brain a really nice thumbs up to some positive things. So say if I'm wanting to start my day well and I want to say, I commit to having a great day. I intend to make a difference today. I'm going to do my best work today. I'm going to access my kindness, my kind heart today. This is like setting our intentions and getting ourselves ready for the gates to open on our best self. And, the touch just is like oil on the cogs of the machine. It's just like a really nice, reassuring, yeah, you can do this. You can do this.
So for my next question, I would really like to ask, could it be a secret? Could it be the story behind the movements, behind the eye movements, the hand movements, and generally the movements of the self-healing technique?
Yeah, sure. I mean, in some ways, it's kind of ancient wisdom, because if we were going to reassure a friend, we would probably quite naturally just put the hand on their shoulder Sometimes when people are stressed, they may actually naturally put their head in their hands, or if they're nervous, they may do this. So it's kind of ancient because our body knows that these are areas that we might soothe ourselves or another. But actually, what we've got now is we've got the technology that allows us to see what this does in the brain. And two doctors in New York, two brothers, Dr. Ronald Rudin and Dr. Stephen Rudin, they have been able to look at the effect of touch on the brain with like these EEG caps, where you have electrodes around the brain and it measures brainwave activity. And there's research papers that are showing that certain types of touch have this particularly soothing effect on the brain. And at first they were starting with tapping, which was an existing technique, and also the eye movements is part of EMDR. It's an existing technique, but then they found that this particular move, and this particular move were really good at generating these delta waves most efficiently. And so that's how it kind of evolved into these particular moves, because these were best at generating those brainwave activity.
Okay, that's really clear. Now, for my next question, I would like to ask why the self-healing technique? I know there are quite a number of techniques to help people deal with trauma and their challenges, but why this particular technique? I want us to help the viewers understand why exactly are we talking about this technique? What makes it so special? What makes it something to think about? What makes it something worth trying, actually?
Yeah, sure. I mean, by the way, I would encourage people to use other techniques as well, because there are some really, really good techniques out there. This one, the reason I like this one particularly is that you don't have to talk about the events that have happened to you or the things that have happened in life that have been traumatic or stressful. A lot of people don't like to talk about them openly. All they would need to do is to momentarily think of it, and then they're doing that distraction and the touch. They don't have to describe it and go into detail and almost like have to relive it. I think that's a very kind way of working with people who may not go for help if they have to talk about it. So that's one of the things that I feel is a real plus with havening. And I think the second thing is it is a naturally soothing experience. You know, it's this is a nice experience in its own right. You know, even if you just wanted to feel good in the moment, you could do this and it's a pleasant experience. So it's a kind way of working with some quite disturbing things that have happened in people's lives. They don't have to go there and think about it a lot and talk about it a lot. They can just momentarily think of it to light up that area of the brain, and then we're into the soothing part of the activity. So, and it's interesting. It gets right to the area of the brain that holds the trauma. So sometimes, if someone goes to, say, counselling, which has got a really important place, I think, in offering support to people, they may feel good because they've been able to at least share it with someone who understands and is listening. But it may be still the old part of our brain that likes to protect will still hang on to it. And what this does is it allows that old part of the brain to finally just say you can release it. And it literally releases receptors off neurons so that no longer when we think of the event will it set off our alarm system and have us feel scared or anxious or upset. So it gets right into the biology of things.
Okay, that's quite clear. I believe for me, what's standing out is that I actually don't have to say anything about what I'm going through. And for a lot of people, I believe that's a very scary place whereby they actually have to tell somebody what they're actually going through, what they're feeling, what's going on in their mind, because many people don't want to share some of these experiences, because for many of the traumatic experiences, they're quite personal.
Yes.
And them being quite personal, I believe the Heavening technique stands out to bring out, to help them without them actually having to speak about many of these things. Though, like it's important for us to understand that we cannot disregard entirely all the other techniques, because sometimes it is necessary actually to talk.
Very much so. I mean, we've got people in our havening community of therapists who are trained in lots of other methods, and all of those methods have some real positives. And sometimes some people will like one method more than another method. Everyone's different, but this is a nice, soothing and effective method that
Technique.
people can try.
Definitely, that's really right. Now, I would like us I would like to ask another question actually, and ask and say that why haven't we really had much about him, and
Yeah, yeah.
how can we actually get to know more about it? Where can we go? What websites? What channels on YouTube, etc.?
Yeah, sure. So the reason many people haven't heard of it yet is it's relatively new. It takes quite a lot of time to do research projects and things that have it accepted widely in the world. And it was only started to be taught in 2013. So although, yes, we're now in 2022, so we've had 9 years so far, that's pretty early compared to a lot of other methods that have been around a lot longer. And yeah, so it's initially for the first few years, it was really only taught in America and the UK as well. And then gradually it's been taught wider and wider, and the community is getting bigger. But we've now got 3 journal articles that have been published. So time is kind of allowing us to build up an evidence base that makes it easier for organizations to accept it and to embrace it. But yeah, it's still quite early, in fact, in terms of comparing it to other techniques.
Okay.
But in terms of how
When
you can find out more, sorry, there was a second part there to your question. I remember now you said about how people could find out more about it.
yes.
The main website, international website, is havening.org, havening.org, and that there's videos and information on there. There's all the global trainers and practitioners on there, but also my own website is learn-havening.com. That's another website that they could look at, but also those videos, I will send a link to some videos that people can follow to try the method for themselves. And we've also got a little team of people internationally who are willing to work with individuals who want support in Uganda and working with their traumas. So I coordinate that along with your colleague Derek and others.
Yes.
And so yeah, we can help match people to therapists as well if they wanted to work on a trauma. So there's different ways in which people can find out about it. They can try it for themselves from the videos, or if it's something more disturbing, they can work with a practitioner, and they can browse those websites I mentioned.
Okay. What would a counselor, let's say, in our Ugandan space? We don't have many, by the way. We don't have that many, because mental health as a problem is still quite not well accepted, because of our multicultural environment. We really have quite a number of superstitions, and these many superstitions are actually clouding our understanding that maybe some of the things we are calling curses and spirits are actually mental health problems that can actually be dealt with. And because of that, a very large number of the Ugandan population, which are youth, are actually dealing with quite a number of mental health related challenges. And quite many, are actually in the area of trauma that begins from family level, childhood, and a lot younger ages. So I would really want to understand, for the counselors that are here in Uganda, how can they learn? How can they join this self-havening movement? Actually, I think that would help it grow a little more, this part of the world at least.
Yeah, well, actually, again, I've been talking with your colleague Derek and also your colleague Charity, and we've been looking at ways in which we may be able to train some volunteers or some counselors to be able to adopt these methods. So there's already conversations happening about how we can do that. So yeah, we can watch this space, and hopefully we'll be able to bring it to some key people who can make a difference with these techniques in Uganda.
I'm really hoping so as well, because mental health is a really big big thing. Let's say it's a question mark here. It's a question mark. I believe not many people have understood it yet. Not many people have accepted that many of the youth in the country, and as well as a couple of the adults, are dealing with mental health challenges. And maybe as we continuously, as like now that we have had one of these conversations, I believe it's an eye opener for the people who are going to listen to it in the time to come, that actually there are quite a number of mental health challenges, and we are putting out a number of ways for them to know how to deal with these challenges. Now, as I was reading about your work and each and everything, I came across something called the pink bucket, and I would like you to explain it to us and show us what exactly the pink bucket is, what does it do, etc.
Yeah, sure. So, pink bucket thinking. So here's my pink bucket always sits on my desk, and I've got a green bucket as well. And really, what it is, we wrote a book called Pink Bucket Thinking, and you can download it for free from our website, in fact, which is pinkbucketthinking.com. And there's also about 52 free videos. So I'll send a link again for you to put with this recording. But it's a simple idea, really. So often we have got our thoughts going on in here and our feelings going on in here, and we're so involved in it, in experiencing it, that we don't get a chance to really evaluate those thoughts and ask if they're working for us and make better choices about our thoughts. And what this is about, really taking those thoughts and putting them outside of ourselves to evaluate them. So when I'm having a particular thought, I'm asking myself, is that an unhelpful thought given how I want to experience my day and what I want to achieve? Or is that a helpful thought? So we call the pink bucket ones helpful thoughts, the green bucket ones unhelpful thoughts. And it's just a way of putting our thoughts out here and evaluating. So for example, someone might make a mistake in their work or at school. And one of the things that might happen is they have a thought, oh, I'm so useless. I'm such a useless, worthless person. Now, that's an unhelpful thought because the person is not going to feel resourceful for the rest of their day. And if they do that regularly, they're going to start feeling worse and worse about themselves, and they'll be less and less resourceful. But alternatively, they could notice that and say, okay, that's not a very helpful thought. What better thought could I choose? And we can switch and say, okay, a more helpful thought would be, okay, I've learned something here. I've learned something valuable. I can improve. I can make a better result next time, and I'm a resourceful human being, and that will help them to get through their day and their week, improving rather than having given up and feeling hopeless about things. So that's a simple example, but it's really getting us evaluating our thoughts and making choices, switching from this bucket to help us to have a better experience and better achievement and outcomes.
Okay, that is pretty much understood. So from what I get is that it's really getting self-aware about what's actually happening in your mind. It's really having it at the front of your mind. Okay, this is what I'm thinking, and this is how it affects me, and this is how it could affect my day. This is how it could affect my tomorrow, etc. And it is coming down to evaluating yourself and telling yourself that I should think this and not that. And if I'm thinking this, what's causing this thought, let me put it aside and perhaps evaluate why I'm having this particular thought in my mind. And really ask yourself the question, am I what I think I am thinking, or am I what I want to? Because there is a quite famous statement, I don't know said by who, perhaps it's in the Bible, but you are what you think. You don't become it, but you are actually what you think. And your current thoughts are exactly who you are. It's or rather, if we came to your thoughts, what you look like outside, what you demonstrate, what you do, the kind of life you live, the kind of life you lead is actually a reflection of the thoughts that you actually have.
That's it. Yeah.
And because it's a reflection of the thoughts that you're having, then it is important to actually be aware of what kind of thoughts that are in your head. And exactly. I believe that's what pink bucket thinking is telling us. So I would like you to tell us a little more probably from out of any question that I'm going to ask about pickpocket thinking. I might not have a direct question to you now, but I would like you to tell us a little more about pocket thinking, and then we can call it a wrap.
Okay,
Yes,
sure. Yeah. So another, if we just follow from what you've just said, which is such wise words you said there about how much our thinking really determines how we feel and how we show up and how we behave and who we are. It's like, what if, here's a pink bucking thought, what if I'm so much better than I've been telling myself? What if there's so much more resourcefulness, so much more amazing qualities within me that I haven't yet noticed? What if I can invite those qualities to come out and play? So I'm using what if because people torture themselves with what if. What if I'll never amount to anything? What if I'm just not good enough? What if people won't like me? What if, so we take the what if and we put it in a better direction. What if I am capable? What if I can learn? What if I'm resourceful? What if I'm determined? I can achieve anything I set my mind to. And in a way, what's happening with the green bucket thoughts, it's like closing the gates on your best resources and best qualities, so that you end up, as you say, living an impoverished version of yourself. Whereas when we start to ask these better pink bucket what if questions, it like opens the gates on all these great qualities, and we start to notice different things about ourselves and shine a light on different things about ourselves, and that then becomes a reality for us. So what if I can have a great day today? What if I can start to notice things I can feel grateful for? What if I can acknowledge myself? And things like that are going to keep our gates open on our resources, and it tends to self-reinforce. We see these things in ourselves more. Other people get these things in ourselves more, and they communicate that back through their reactions and their conversation. And we start to say, yeah, it's true. What started as a what if question actually is now a reality. These qualities are shining through, and it's making a difference.
That's amazing. Now as we finish, I would like you to give us a few words that you'd like to leave with our listeners and what you'd love them to know, as maybe people that are dealing with trauma, as counselors, and as a number of other people from different fields and specialities that are going to listen to this particular talk.
Well, what I would say is that you are so much better than you think you are. You are so much better than you think you are. And if you can just start to notice more about your thinking and your blocks, you've got power in your own hands to clear some of those blocks. And you've got the capacity to evaluate your thinking so that you access more of that greatness, that unique greatness, by the way. No one else has got your blend of greatness. No one else has got your wonderful, delightful, unique blend of qualities that is a unique purpose in the world. So invite it to come out and play with your thinking, clear anything that's in the way, and allow yourself to live your best version of yourself, living your best mission in life, where you'll leave a legacy and people will remember you for your contribution.
Okay, that was a very beautiful word. And I guess for me, the key point I've picked out is that be the best version of yourself. And that's what I'm going to be. I'm going to be the first recipient of this message, and I will be its missionary or its ambassador and tell people to be the best version they could be. And that's something I've learned from you here today. Otherwise, Tony, thank you so much for the insightful words that I have received from you, and many and thousands and millions of people that are going to receive this talk are also going to receive from you. And it has been a really wonderful morning. I believe it's still morning that side.
Yes.
It has been a really wonderful morning having this conversation with you. And thank you very much for accepting our invite from our team leader. Otherwise, have a good morning and cheers to you.
Thank you, Abraham. Thank you for having us.